Imagine you landed in a new country with great hopes and ambitions, but the only person you knew who had to come pick you up from the airport never showed up. Now you don't have any backup plan and you don't know anybody in the country you just landed. How would you feel? What would you do? That's what happened to me when I first came to America 28 years ago. My name is Rizwan Shuja. I'm an entrepreneur, real estate investor, author, and a speaker who joined YouTube intending to help millions achieve their goals. My journey has involved constant challenges, many setbacks, and a fair share of successful stories. However, today I have reached a place I could have never imagined. In this video, I'll share how I have come this far in my life, literally from a few $100 to where I am today. And most importantly, why I created this YouTube channel. Today, I'm living a life I once dreamed of in a luxurious home with my loving family. I have partnerships in more than 30 businesses out of the 45 businesses I started since I moved to the US. I work with a fantastic team of over 50 people, many of whom are my partners, and together we have been growing our businesses around Austin, Texas. My portfolio includes over 20 residential and commercial rental properties, over 20 gas stations with convenience stores, and a few restaurants. Thanks to these businesses, I enjoy lots of passive income. As my businesses continue to expand, I'm incredibly grateful to my partners and fortunate enough to have time to spend with my family and friends. Moreover, now I have the luxury of traveling the world and devote time to think about how I can inspire and contribute to the society, including all the people around me. I will not be telling you that I can make you a billionaire, but I can certainly guarantee you long-term success, an increase in your income, and perhaps even become a multimillionaire if you follow through. If you ask me, I believe that I didn't do anything special that brought me here. It's really about understanding the success mindset, some powerful traits and habits, and basic principles of financial literacy and financial compounding. To me, passing my knowledge is a form of fulfillment, and I hope I inspire everyone to contribute to do the same. I want to continue my journey and share my years' worth of knowledge and experience that I have learned after spending thousands of dollars with you guys, in the hope that I can help you in your journey. After many years of research, reading, and practically living the message I want to teach, I believe that success is truly a lifestyle, and it all starts in one's mind. Success is a series of conscious realizations, struggles, and persistence that leads to achieving the goals of life, and especially peace of mind. By success, I don't just mean wealth, but also success in other aspects, such as personal goals, business or career growth, fitness, education, and even spirituality. My philosophy of success is achieving 5 distinct goals. First is achieving mental and emotional fulfillment. Second is attaining good physical health and fitness. Third is maintaining quality relationships with people and God. Fourth, excellence in your profession, becoming a leader in your field. And fifth, accumulating wealth. This cycle then begins from the first goal again, achieving mental and emotional fulfillment. This concept is the essence of my first book, The Cycle of Fulfillment, and it also inspires this YouTube channel. By the way, you can download my book for free using the link in the description below. The main lesson of my first book is to understand that success will happen for you only if you are able to tame your ego and negative thoughts and feelings. But then how do we actually do it? That's exactly what I dive into in my second book, Mental Emotional Fulfillment, A Guide to Spirituality. Once you become attuned to this mindset using all the tools and techniques I mentioned in my second book, then you will enjoy all the wins in your life, and losses will merely be a learning opportunity for you. I'll dive deeper into this in my other videos. I'll share the link in the description so we can begin our success journey together. The second reason I made this channel is that I want to talk about real stories, strategies, and what I experience in my day-to-day life related to my businesses. I want to tell you exactly how I manage my businesses, how I am growing every day, and the problems I face so I can help you navigate around your businesses and life. So like, share, and subscribe, but most of all leave comments under my videos. Okay, so moving on to how it all began. I'll share 2 stories, and each one helped me learn what it takes to make more money and start my entrepreneurial journey. Can you imagine, at one point I had no job, and was losing $2,000 a month. I managed to grow from there to being a multimillionaire today. So at the end of these stories, I'll share key lessons that I learned from these experiences. The first story was when I came to America 28 years ago and how I survived. After completing my bachelor's in electrical engineering from UET, a decent university back in Pakistan, I wanted to come to the US for my master's because I knew this was the land of opportunities and the best place to be if I wanted to grow. The real advancement in science and technology was happening here, even though my parents never wanted me to move away from them, let alone to another country which was 20 hours by flight and with no solid plan on how I would survive here. I had an admission in the University of Louisville, Kentucky. I had heard from some friends that surviving in the US was tough, but they had managed to pay off the tuition fees and regular expenses doing odd jobs. My plan was to work for 2 semesters in Chicago, save up money, and then go to the university in Kentucky. I was counting on this one person I knew in the US who had said yes to hosting me for a few months before my master's would begin. But can you imagine? It would have been my first time traveling to the US. It would be a completely new country to me. I was already a little nervous and had no idea about the culture and how things worked in the US. Well, it turned out that when I landed in Chicago, I called the person who was supposed to pick me up, but he refused to come and host me even for a couple of days. I got scared and faced a crisis situation that I wish nobody ever would have to face. I was young back then and had to figure out a way. I thought about taking the flight right back to Pakistan, but I can't just give up now. Cutting the story short, I can share the complete story if you guys want. Leave a comment below if you would like me to make a video on it. I had the phone number of another person through a reference who I had never met. I called him up and explained the situation. He was very encouraging. He picked me up from the airport and dropped me to a Pakistani restaurant at the intersection of Foster and Sheridan Street. Up until now, can you imagine, I had no job and I didn't know these people at all. The owner of this restaurant told me to sit there and talk to people who came there to eat, mostly Pakistani cab drivers. The owner said that someone among these people might be able to help you find a job. Eventually, that led me to a job in another restaurant. I stayed in an apartment where other employees stayed. As planned, I called the university explaining that I would join in a later semester. Initially admitted for spring 1996, I informed them that I would start in fall 1996 instead. This gave me 8 months as admissions were valid for a year. With my studies on hold, I was full of determination. I applied for a social security number, a driver's license, enabling me to start driving a taxi. After a few odd jobs, I started driving 12 to 13 hours a day for 200 days. I managed to save $25,000, which is equivalent to $50,000 or $60,000 in today's value. That's how I managed to save enough money for my university tuition and was able to complete my master's in electrical engineering. The story doesn't end here. It only gets interesting because sometimes I really feel the universe was working in my favor and it taught me so many lessons that I could have never learned if my life had not played out the way it did. And now in this second story, I'll tell you how I developed a keen interest in business and how life gave me an opportunity that would change everything. Anyway, in those days, we were talking about 1998. The job market was booming and I had managed to get a job even before I graduated. The first company that I started working for was Hitachi. I worked there for 2 years before I moved to my second company, Texas Instruments. I was an engineer and worked on analog and digital circuit design. I remember in those days, many companies were moving their manufacturing plants from the US to Mexico. Just 2 months after joining, my company announced it would move the plant to Mexico. As the manufacturing was being moved, everyone was laid off, but the design team was offered a job in Boston. I accepted the offer. This was when the life-changing opportunity arose for me. When I was moving to Boston from Kentucky, I was looking for a home to buy. My realtor introduced me to a duplex house, which is essentially 2 mirror units side by side, even though I was interested in buying a single-family house. I've even made a separate video about it, and I'll attach the link to that in the description for you. Anyway, back to the story. My realtor explained that by purchasing a duplex, I could significantly reduce my living expenses by renting out one unit while living in the other. I was captivated by the idea that I started focusing my research on duplexes and even triplexes. Eventually, I bought a triplex which looked like a duplex with double stories on both sides. It had a 4-bedroom house on one side and 2 apartments on each floor on the other. I had to pay $400 a month, including property taxes, to live in a 4-bedroom house after collecting the rent from the other 2 apartments. Can you believe that? Just $400 a month to live in a 4-bedroom house. After a few months, the country went into a recession and the US Treasury dropped the interest rates. I refinanced the house, which lowered my monthly payment, and the lease of both the tenants were ready to be renewed, so I raised their rents a little. Now I was completely free and actually making some money. I was only 28 at the time. Also, I did not have any car payments as my cars were paid for. Because of that, I was able to save some money very quickly. This was just the starting point, but it was enough to get me motivated to continue exploring my entrepreneurial journey. This boosted my confidence to buy another property. Luckily, I found another 3-plex in the next street for sale. The house was $200,000 and we had to put $40,000 down, which was 20%, as it was an investment property. I talked to my brother to become a 50% partner in the property with me and he agreed. I got excited and I put an offer on it with non-refundable option money of $10,000. So he had to bring $20,000 and I had to bring $20,000 at the closing. My brother lived in New York at the time. Now after the inspection, we found out that there were some problems with the structure and all the 3 tenants were not paying the rent. I got nervous and I told my brother that we are stuck in a bad deal. He told me that he's not buying the property. I told him that if he didn't, then I'm going to lose $10,000. And he said he's not buying the property. At that time, I was only 28 years old and $10,000 was a lot of money for me 23 years ago. Fighting with him wouldn't have gotten me anywhere, so I asked him if he could loan me the $20,000 he was going to invest for 8 months. He agreed and told me that now if I lose money or make money, it has nothing to do with him. I went ahead and bought the house. All the 3 tenants were not paying the rent and would cuss at me if I went there to collect the rent. Now I was losing more than $2,000 a month in mortgage and property taxes. It was a lot of money for me at the time. I got really stressed out and started to learn how to evict the tenants. Between going to the courts, learning the process of eviction and stress of losing the money, I couldn't focus on the work and I got fired. Now I did not have a job and I was paying rent for the 3 tenants. Anyway, I got hold of myself and eventually evicted all the 3 tenants through the court in 2 to 3 months. In the meantime, I found another job. I started remodeling the house myself, like painting, putting new carpets, cabinets, etc. I used to go to work at 7 a.m. and come back at 6 p.m. and work on the house till 2 or 3 a.m. for 3 weeks. Then I rented all the 3 apartments with good tenants. Now I was making $1,000 a month on top of making all the payments. So I was living for free and making $1,000 a month. Can you imagine? I sold the same second house after 2.5 years for $165,000 profit. I told my brother about it and he was shocked. All he had to do was say yes. Now he doesn't say no to anything. The moral of the story is that I learned hardships and setbacks are bound to happen when you're trying to grow. The key is to not give up and keep working according to your well thought out plan. Had I not had a success mindset from the start, I think I would have never made it. There were multiple times I wanted to quit and just focus on my job, but I chose the hard life for myself and I'm glad that I did. I was able to save some money very quickly again and I bought another rental property. Also, I finished the basement in the first 3-plex. When my passive income reached $4,000 to $5,000 a month, then I gained the confidence to make a decision to quit my job. $4,000 to $5,000 in 2003 may not sound a lot of money, but it was at least $10,000 to $12,000 today. And I did not have a house and car payments. At that time, the property values went through the roof in Boston area. I realized that the market was artificially inflated and was going to crash as there was no jobs, money, or people coming in. At the same time, my younger brother used to live in Austin, Texas. He bought a house which to my surprise was very cheap. This triggered my interest and I started researching and found out that the property values had not appreciated in Texas in the last 15 years. I sold everything and moved to Austin, Texas and bought my first gas station on Riverside Drive and a house on cash. Since then, I'm based in Austin, Texas, and have continuously been growing my businesses with my partners. So, how did I make millions? These initial stories are a reminder for how I began and I was able to kickstart my entrepreneurial journey. Remember that I came to US with literally only a few bucks. So bear in mind that it's not the resources, time, or money that makes you rich. It's literally being resourceful. I believe that eventually it all boils down to how you focus on improving yourself. One reason for my success is the partnerships and alliances I was able to make with my partners. I was able to do that only because people could trust me and knew that I don't lie, cheat, and had their benefit in my mind. I could have not reached here without the partnerships. Over the years, I have learned that success is not a myth and that anybody can be rich. It's a matter of realizing the reality that success begins in mind. If you are still watching this video, I would like to thank you. And if you are interested in how I developed an interest in motivational speaking and what made me believe that success starts in mind, please leave a comment under the video. Lastly, I will now share the key lessons that helped me grow my wealth. Number 1. Never spend more than your income. Save 20% of your income, whatever it may be. Number 2. Learn the basics of financial literacy and most importantly, financial compounding. Number 3. Invest your savings and reinvest your income from your investments cleverly to reap the benefits later. Number 4. Be persistent and have patience, because if you are continuously saving up and investing in the right manner, you will become rich. 5. Have faith that you'll be able to achieve your goals with the help of God. This gives you courage to make bold decisions and take calculated risks. Number 6. The end goal should never be the money, but achieving big goals to make a difference and inspire people. If you like this video, please share this with as many people as possible, because in this channel, I will tell you all what you need to know to become rich and successful. If you like this video, please share this video with as many people as possible, because in this channel, I will tell you all what you need to know to become rich and successful. Successful not just in terms of money, but also in all other aspects of your life.